to Yoga with Rana. This is going to be a short sequence. We're going to start on the floor, work our way up, and then gently come back down. So, if you're ready to begin, let's start. So, as always in yoga, we want to start with the breath. So find a nice comfortable seat. Maybe you use a bolster, one of these. You can use a block, prop yourself up. Find a comfortable seat that doesn't require a lot of energy and doesn't create tension. And just release. Just let everything go. Close your eyes down if you want. And just be comfortable. Just allow the body to settle. And when you feel a little bit more present, we'll start to work on the breath. So inhaling deeply through the nose, maybe pausing at the top, and then gentle exhale, just let it go. Beautiful. Inhale, filling up. Take it all in, and then release it all out. Inhale, filling up, and exhale, releasing it. Now take 3 to 5 of these at your own pace, just working within the rhythm of your own body. And whenever you're ready, we're going to move on to Ujjayi breath. You do not have to do Ujjayi breath, it's just a little extra something something. So if you want to try it, inhale deeply through the nose, seal the lips, and then slowly exhale through the nose. Inhale, filling up, and exhale, slowly releasing. Inhale. And exhale. Moving on to using our own pace with our own breath. Stay for 3 to 5. Beautiful. Now hopefully you feel a little bit more grounded. That breath, we want to use that throughout our practice to stay kind and gentle with our body. Work within the breath. And then we're just going to move on. So, keeping the comfortable seat on the mat, find a way to shift the shoulders over the hips. You're firmly grounded down through the sits bones. Come back to the breath. We're just going to gently start to do a little bit of twisting. So one hand goes forward, you can choose whatever. The other hand goes back. And then as we push into the ground in the inhale, we pull up through the crown of the head, creating as much length as possible. Now go ahead and close your eyes down. And then we're just going to gently start to twist it over the shoulder. Only go so far as it's comfortable. And part of the reason for closing the eye down is that there's no tension in the occipital nerve. And we'll stay here for a couple of breaths. And then as you inhale, try to pull through the crown of the head. And the exhale is where you twist. So we want both cheeks to be on the mat. So we start to feel one lift, try to shift it back. And when you're ready, we're ever so gently just going to draw everything back to center. Maybe bring the eyes back to open. And we'll do the other side. Opposite hand in front, one in back. Inhale, pushing down, creating length. And then exhale, twisting with the eyes closed. And staying here for about 3 breaths. Working within that internal rhythm that your body has. And maybe you don't feel it at first, but as you go through yoga a little bit longer, sometimes that starts to click in a little bit more. And then gently come back to center. Then we draw our hands out, thumbs come up. Raise them, and then we're just going to cross them under. So for me, my right hand's coming under first. We just need to remember which one. So one's under, elbows are together if you can make it, and we're just going to give ourselves a hug. Who couldn't use a hug, right? And we're going to do the same thing, just a slightly different twist. So inhale, creating length, and then exhale, closing the eyes down, gently twisting, starting to warm up the spine. Pausing for a couple of breaths. And then coming back to center. Open the eyes, taking the deep breath. And then opposite side. Closing the eyes back down again. Gently twisting. Staying for about 3 breaths. And if your breath starts to change drastically, just come out of it a tiny bit. Nice. And then coming back to center. Checking to see which arm's on the bottom. Coming back out. Maybe wiggling it out. And coming back up. And then the opposite arm comes underneath. Coming back to giving yourself a hug. Pausing for the breath, reestablishing that. Inhale, close the eyes down, and then exhale, twist again. Staying for a couple of breaths each inhale, creating length if we can, and the exhale is where we twist. And just gently note the sensations in your body. And then coming back, reestablishing the breath, maybe opening the eyes. And then opposite side, inhale, create length. Shutting the eyes down, and then twisting. And when you're ready, we're just going to come back to center. We're going to release the arms, shake them out, and do whatever is calling to you. Biscuit says hi. If you're watching my videos, you'll see her and her sister pretty frequently. And then we're just going to direct our legs out in front of us. We're going to do one more seated twist down here. So always the option, I'll turn from the side so you can see. I'm going to draw in the right knee. So you have the option to leave the knee right here. We can take the foot across. Completely up to you. What you need to pay attention to is the hips, how the hips feel and how you feel overall doing this. So I'm going to do with my feet inside my knee. And then I'm going to take my hand around my knee, and as I inhale, I'm going to pull up, create a little more length, and I'm going to take the opposite hand around the knee, and I'm going to give it a hug, plant that back hand down, and then on the inhale, I'm going to come up, create as much length, and the exhale, I'm going to twist. But again, with the eyes closed, there's no pressure on the occipital nerve. It's nice and gentle. So we're doing a lot of spine warming up, articulation along the spine, twisting. So we want to be gentle. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, we're just going to gently come out of it. Maybe we hug this knee, maybe we drop the head. Nice. And then we're just going to send the leg long. We're going to draw the other one in. So again, the option, you can go across the knee, you just drop it here. So basically the inner arch right here is kind of going around the knee, so it kind of fits a little bit better. Far hand comes around, hugs the knee. The other hand goes back. We're going to inhale, create length, close the eyes down, and the exhale, twist. And just stay for a couple of breaths. Finding gentleness and grace in the body. When you're ready, we're just going to gently come back around. So we're not going to try and snap back around. It's a nice gentle movement. Maybe we hug the knees. Maybe we drop the head. Head comes back up. Leg goes long. Come back to your comfortable seat, and then we'll move on. So from our comfortable seated position, we're just going to flip over and come into tabletop or all fours. So we're just switching over. If this is hard on your knees, you can roll up a blanket. There's many options. Do what works for you to protect your knee. Sometimes rolling the mat back so it's doubled across can also help. So shoulders are over wrists, palms are into the mat, hips are over knees, and you can turn the toes over and start an Achilles stretch, or not. You can put shoelace side down. And then as we push into the palms, we want weight to be here, but we also want it to be across the fingers so all the weight of the body, a large portion of it, isn't just directly shooting down into the wrist, into the palm. So find what works for you. Find the comfortable position, and then gaze stays down so we're not torquing the neck. And just pause here. And then as you breathe, kind of pretend like your belly button is coming toward your spine. And as you release, you're dropping it. And just keep that steady, steady rhythm. And then we're going to do bird dog. So for bird dog, one leg will go back and then the opposite arm goes forward. So my left leg's going back, my right arm's going forward. So now the pressure of my weight is distributed on the planted hand and the planted foot and shin and knee. We're going to stay here for a couple of breaths. And just know that any swaying is actually your body working, and that's a great thing. And then when you're ready, take an inhale. So the energy shooting out your fingers, shooting out your toes, and then draw everything into the midline. Nice. So maybe they tap, maybe your knee and elbow tap, maybe they cross paths, maybe they come close. And then come back out. And then drop it off. Come back to a nice steady all fours, maybe reposition your hands. And as always, come back to the breath. And then opposite side. Right leg's going to go back, left arm's going to go forward. Coming back to balancing. No tension in the neck. Nice. And then we'll do where we draw everything. We'll draw the elbow and knee in. Maybe they come close. Maybe they cross paths. Maybe they tap. And then come back up. And then plant. And just ease back ever so gently into the child's pose of your choice. So hands come out, if that works for you, as the bum comes closer to the heels. Now if this doesn't work, you can take a bolster, place it in between, place a block. You can wrap up a towel. And then third eye comes down to the mat. Your fingers stretch out in front of us. So we're creating as much length as possible all the way down. We're warming up and stretching the fascia. Beautiful. And then we're going to come back up to our comfortable all fours. And we're going to do bird dog again, but we're going to add on a little something something. So, there we go. We're balancing. Breath is easy. Now try this. Try closing your eyes down and balancing while you're in bird dog. And then drop it off. Back to the breath. Sense of steadiness and ease here. And then opposite side. Pause here, energy shooting out, and then close your eyes. And just know the swaying's good, it's your body working. Maybe one side is a little bit easier than the other. And then drop back down. Inhale. And exhale, come back to the child's pose of your choice. Focus on the breath, finding that gentleness and ease with your body. Beautiful. We're going to come back to all fours. And from here, we're slowly going to move to a standing position. So we're going to flip the feet over, pushing down through the palms, fingers grip, taking a deep inhale. And on the exhale, we're going to draw the hips up and back. So it's almost as if the top of the thighs are driving this, or pushing the thighs back. The pelvis is tilting toward, the top of the pelvis is tilting toward the mat, and the bottom of it's tilting up. And this is downward facing dog. So feel free to walk it out. Do whatever feels good, whatever's calling to you. Listen to your body. Maybe it's something it's craving. And then when you're ready, find a little bit of stillness here. And then you're ready. Take the inhale as you look forward. And on the exhale, we're just going to gently walk the feet ever so slowly and softly up toward our hands. Feet are going to come about hip-width distance apart. Soften the knees so the belly rests on the thighs. And maybe take opposite elbows, maybe hands, maybe you're resting on a bolster or block. A lot of times a water bottle is nice too. You can use that. And we're just going to hang out here. Head is heavy, and we're going to reset the spine. And then when you're ready, I'm just going to loosen everything up a little bit, wiggle it out a tiny bit, push down through the feet, and we're going to gently and slowly inhale mountain pose. So it's a nice slow movement. Hands come up. And we're going to draw our hands to heart center. Pause, take a breath. So from here, we're going to work on some balancing postures. So the very first thing we want to make sure we do is we're firmly rooted into the mat. So it should be equal pressure, big toe all the way across, pinkies, and the heels. So if there's a little bit too much in the heels, you'll rotate back. A little bit too much in the toes, you'll rotate forward. And what we really want is this nice, solid root so that we feel stable so we can do balancing. Always the option to use the wall or something else that you can grab onto. And if you have a chair, let's have that super helpful. And we're going to start with tree pose. So for tree pose, rooting down through the right foot. Left foot is going to come either right there on the protruding bone, the ankle bone. You can come to the shin, you want to avoid the knee, or you can lift it up and come to the inner thigh. Whatever you do, want to avoid the knee. We just want to find a little bit of steadiness and ease here. So let's finding a spot you can focus on. You can send all your energy and breath there. And we'll stay here for a couple more. So just know the rocking and rolling back and forth, the swaying in the wind. That's how a true tree behaves. So just know that's good, that's your body working. Whenever you're ready, you can stay longer, but if you're ready, just going to drop it off. And then we're going to wiggle it out. Do whatever feels good. It's a lot of pressure on the foot. For me, it's my ankle. It doesn't feel super good, but I know that I need it. And then we're going to switch, re-root down, tree trunk going into the earth. Other foot comes, ankle, shin, not the knee, inner thigh. Need to follow my advice, right? Maybe grow your branches. Shoot the breath somewhere that's unmoving. So maybe somewhere in the background instead of on me. Just pause here, working with the breath. Working with all your energy. And just try to find a little steadiness and ease here. And just know swaying in the wind is fine. It's kind of part of the fun part. And when you're ready, just gently drop it back down. Reposition the feet, re-root down. So try not to be too far apart when you do this because it's a drastic shift of the weight as we go from side to side. We're going to root down through the foot we started with. And then the other leg is going to come up. It's kind of a one-legged Tadasana. Now, if this doesn't feel steady enough, you can actually take your hand around your knee and kind of act as a bracket. I just know swaying is good at your body working. And really being rooted down through the foot and finding that spot, that drishti you can focus on, really helps. We'll stay for a couple more breaths. Always know you can do this and hold on to something. My wall's behind me, but you get what I'm saying, right? So you just use anything that helps. And we're just going to drop it back down, walk it off. Nice. And then other side, really rooting down. Steady, steady. And opposite leg comes up. So you can bracket, can leave it alone, do anything in between that. You can use one hand on the wall. But find that spot you can focus on. Send all of your energy and breath there. Nice. Now when you feel equal and even, just slowly drop it off, wiggle it out. Nice. Then we're going to come wider apart in more of like a goddess stance. So this will depend on your body. So typically the heels will come in a little bit, so you can bend down and the knees go across the toes. So you get the knees dipping in a little bit. Readjust your stance till you feel comfortable. It doesn't have to be a deep squat. Thighs are going to be engaged. And we're just going to stay here for a moment as we feel the sensation in our body. We're balancing on a wider platform, still rooting down to the feet. Hands can come to the hips, come out a little more goddess pose, more traditional. And we'll stay for about 5 breaths. Or until your thighs are like, sorry, no more here. Really focusing on the breath, that sense of connected, knowing what our body's doing. Breath is at one with it, the breath is driving it. And then it gets uncomfortable, maybe just smile. And when you're ready, push down through the feet, straighten the legs, toe heel them back together, and walk it up. Nice. And that's the balance part of our sequence. So we'll do a mountain pose, inhale, mountain pose. Maybe look at your thumbs, create a little bitty back bend. Maybe your biceps above your ears, looking straight ahead. And then stay here for a couple of breaths as you pull in either direction. So picture pushing down through the feet, creating weight, and then pushing up through the hands, creating weight. Nice, inhale. And then as we exhale, we're going to fold forward. So soften the knees, head from the hips, folding forward. And then head hangs up, belly's resting on the thighs. Nice. And we're just going to walk the hands forward and come down to all fours. So from all fours, we're just going to slide right back into child's pose and take a moment. Nice. Now we're just going to come to rest on our belly. So belly down into the mat, legs behind us. So we're going to zip our legs together like we have a unicorn horn. Shoelace side down. We're going to push into the mat. So maybe the knees come up a little bit, maybe they don't. Hands are going to come underneath our shoulders. And we're going to try to get the elbows facing skyward. Then we're gently going to rest the third eye of the forehead down on the mat. Recentering that unicorn horn, pushing back down, and then as we inhale, we're going to come up. So we're lifting with the heart. The gaze stays down, so there's no tension in the neck. So it's a small movement. I'm going to stay here for a couple of breaths. So this is Cobra Pose. You can kind of see why it would be called Cobra Pose. And when you've had enough, we're just going to slowly float back down. Left cheek on the mat, arms go long, heels flop open, and just take a moment. And when you're ready, we're going to set up and do that all over again. So unicorn horn, pushing down, maybe the knees come up, hands come underneath shoulders, elbows go skyward. And then we're going to inhale, come right back into Cobra, nice and gentle, little to no pressure on the palms. Keep pushing through the unicorn horn. And try to stay for 3 to 5 breaths in total. So if this becomes too much, just melt back down. And then as we melt, right cheek on the mat, gaze goes left, arms go long. Feet release, legs release, glutes release. And just take a moment. Just hug it out with your mat. Nice. And then we're just going to gently come back up. And really quickly, we'll do a forward fold to counterbalance the back bend. So, options always. Legs can go straight out. You can take a wider forward fold. Depends on your body. Whatever's calling to you, just do that. Inhale, chest loose up as if there's a string. And then the exhale, we're just going to fold forward. So knees can be bent, knees can be straight. We're just going to hang out a little bit. So if you do happen to have a bolster or a block or a water can, sometimes you can just fold forward and rest on that. And just be relaxed here. We're just going the opposite direction that we were doing with the back bend, just counterbalancing. If you want a little bit more, totally up to your body, and just walk the hands out. And then maybe you plant them and pull forward, but you don't have to. Just do what feels good to you. That's the important part. And we're just going to gently walk it back. We're going to lead with the heart, so the scapula is behind us leading, the heart's leading in the front. And then we're just going to wiggle it out. Pull the legs over. And then ever so slowly, we're going to melt into the mat. Nice. And then just take a moment here. Maybe the feet flop open. Beautiful. And then plant the feet. And then we're going to gently walk the feet toward the bum. So maybe you can tap the heels, maybe not. It's not a requirement. It's just something you can do. And then from here, we're going to make sure our gaze is straight up rather than forward. You don't want any tension on the neck. And then what we're going to do is push into the feet, and we're gently going to lift the bottom up, and then we're going to replant it down on the mat. So it's the root chakra, the lower spine right here. We're planting it on the mat. We want that to stay solid. That's our base. Shoulders are into the mat. And then we're going to come back and pause. Come back to the breath. Nice. And then we're going to inhale, the right leg comes up. So gaze is straight up. Right foot's in the air and flexing the toes back toward your heart. And we'll stay here for about 3 breaths. So it's kind of a half legs up the wall. And then we're going to add on to it. So when you're ready, and only when you're ready, we're going to take the outside of the right leg, the ankle, on the outside of the left knee. Now you can further extend that foot and make it even more gentle. If you want a little bit more, if your hips are already open, you can come a little bit closer. But what we're not going to do is grab underneath here and start pulling stuff toward us. We want our body to do the opening nice and slow. So toes are going to flex back toward the knee. And we're just going to pause here for about 5 breaths. And just come back to establishing that breath rhythm as we start to slow down. Nice. And then we're going to add a twist on. So from here, we're gently going to let the foot drop off to the side. And know that if this doesn't work for you, you don't have to do this. This is just an option. And then the foot plants. Arms can go wide, arms can go to cactus. It depends on what feels good in your body. And then before doing anything else, just pause here. Notice how it feels in your body. Make any adjustments that make it feel even better. And then if you want, you can take the gaze in the opposite direction of the knee. And just close the eyes down. And just let the body focus on the twist. Maybe smile. And then when you're ready, we're going to draw the leg back up so foot remains firmly planted. Right leg's going to go back to the sky, and then we're just going to gently drop it off. And then we're going to come to broken bridge. So feet go a little bit wider than the mat. Knees come in. Hands can come to belly, one can come belly to heart. And we're just going to pause here before we move on to the other side. Nice. And then we're just going to toe heel the feet back in so they're a little bit more in line with the hips rather than being wide or close together. And then we're going to gently lift the root chakra up and then plant it down. That's going to become our first root. And then the shoulders is the second root. And then left leg goes skyward, flexing the toes back toward your heart. And if you notice his knees start to dip in like mine just was, try to draw it out so it's in line with the hip. And we'll stay here for a couple of breaths. And then maybe we get a little more help from Biscuit. Hi, babe. And then when you're ready, we're going to take the outside of the left ankle, drop it across the right knee. And we're going to stay here. So we're not going to jerk. We're just going to stay here. Hands can go in opposite directions. Can cactus. Now allow the body to settle. And if you feel settled and grounded, we'll drop the knee over. Allowing the body to resettle. And then gaze goes in the opposite direction if you want a little bit more. And just pause here. Focus on the breath. Nice. And then when you feel equal and even, we're going to draw it back across. The bent leg is going to go back skyward. And then we're just going to gently drop it off. And you can come to broken bridge, or you can come to Baddha Konasana, which is where the feet meet. So the feet will meet, toes will meet, heels will meet, insoles will be open, ninth edge will be down into the ground. And we'll just stay like this. So we're not going to bounce the knees, we're just going to let them glide and drift at their own pace. Hands can come to the belly. We'll just stay here for a couple of breaths. Nice, then when you're ready, draw the knees back together. And if you can't draw the knees in, maybe you grab behind the knee, back here, across the top. Maybe you come up and wrap. Listen to what's calling to you. And now create this nice tight ball of positive energy here, right? We'll pause for a couple of breaths. So we're allowing the knee to push against the belly. And then you've had enough. Take a deep inhale. Fill up. And then as you exhale, try to melt. So spine comes down to the mat. Legs go long. Pull anything you might want for your Shavasana. Maybe you want to bolster underneath your knees. Maybe you want something across your eyes. And we're going to stay here for a couple of minutes. So probably a minute or two. I will sound the singing bowl when Shavasana is done. So just close your eyes. Release into the mat. And just take up a whole bunch of space. And if you're ready to move on, what I hope is a really beautiful and wonderful day for you, bring some of that energy back to your fingers and to your toes. And feel that energy just start to flow throughout your entire body. And bring a smile to your face. And then maybe you just gently roll over to one side. Draw your knees into your heart. Come into that fetal position. Still keeping the breath nice and soft. And then gently come to a seated position. And then we'll take a couple of breaths as a community. So maybe you bring your hands to heart center, maybe you rest them on your knees or whatever. And then take a deep inhale through the nose. Filling up, and then deep exhale, let it all go. 2 more times. Inhale. Nice. Exhale, let it all go. 1 more time, inhale. Deep exhale, let it all go. Then I invite you to draw your thumbs to third eye, or just leave them where they are. And just exchange one simple word, namaste. Namaste, friends. Thanks for coming to Yoga with Rana. I hope you have a wonderful day. Now always remember, if you like this video, hit subscribe, down in the button down over here, I believe, and pass it along, send feedback, and whatever, just have a fantastic day. Thank you for coming to Yoga with Rana.